Thoughts from the basement, yet again. I know it's been a while. I'm going to try to make these a little more regular. But here are some thoughts I've been having lately on the terms progressive and conservative. And what we mean. Well, not so much what we mean by those terms, but what those terms mean. We can use the terms in a number of ways. We can use them with regard to politics, with morality, with economics, with all kinds of different areas or arenas of life. Of course, there's overlap in all of those. But what I'm looking at right now is not whether it's good to be progressive or whether it's good to be conservative, but at what do the words mean and how should we use that in considering where we are on that progressive conservative spectrum and in what areas of life. If we look at the, so to speak, inherent meanings of the words, let's look at progressive first. Progressive has to do with progress, and within Western civilization, at any rate, that means with looking towards the future, that means moving towards the future, and that means making things better. We tend to think in Western civilization of progress as moving forward, and forward as being, by definition, better. Now, another thoughts from the basement maybe later about whether that's accurate or not, but that's how we think of progress. And so someone who is progressive, or an idea that's progressive, will be looking at moving towards the future, moving towards making things better than they are now. Conservative has to do with conserving, keeping things the same, right? It's similar to preserve, although I don't know why then we don't have people who call themselves preservatives rather than conservative. Maybe it's because then they'd get mixed up with jellies and jams. Either way, we have conservative, which means keeping things the way they are. Now, if we want to keep things the way they are, we must think that there's something good about the way things are right now. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't want to keep it that way. If we want things to get better, then we think that not everything is good right now, and so our progress is towards making things better. I think that anybody who puts themselves completely in the progressive category or completely in the conservative category has not really looked at the definition of those terms or at what they think about whatever situation we're talking about. Because in order to be completely 100% progressive, you would have to believe that nothing is good right now, and that it's only by moving into the future that things can get better. The same is true of conservative. If you are completely and totally conservative, then everything must be good right now because you want to conserve absolutely everything. I think if we honestly look at the two terms and at where we fall as individuals or groups of individuals in a variety of areas within the social arena, we would find that we are partially conservative and partially liberal. I think very few of us would say that there aren't some good things right now that shouldn't be conserved. I also think that many of us think that there are bad things right now and that we need to move towards progress, in the Western way of thinking, into a better situation. So we've got a spectrum with progressive and with conservative. And the question is not, am I conservative or am I progressive, first off. The question is, what should we conserve and what needs to change? Where is progress necessary and where is holding on to something necessary? Now, we're obviously going to disagree on what those are, where those are, and how those work. But I think it's important to examine ourselves and to examine the world we live in or the culture in which we live and make that decision. Where are we on these issues? Whatever the issues are is it something that we want to hold on to because it's good? Or is it something we want to move away from in a positive direction in order to make it better? What do we conserve? How do we progress? Thanks for listening.